At least isn't so loud that it makes the entire party die.
Stinking cloud man. It's all up in my business. Whew. And on that note, welcome back everyone to Signo Avensis. This is our session 2030, not 2034.
Going back in time.
That's right. We're just gonna forget everything that just happened.
Again,
No.
section 20, we're going to decide not to rescue Vola and just continue doing whatever we were doing before.
Yeah, no big deal.
Who cares about Vola?
Exactly.
So, session 34, make sure you're caught up by going to bit.ly/LeafJackGaming. I promise, because I just checked this like yesterday. Every video has been uploaded and is in the playlist in ascending order. So 1 to 34 if you haven't watched any at all, or 33, because this is 34. Alright, last we left off, our party was making their way to go to the Arath Okob Mountains, where Far Traveler is from. However, shortly before they could leave, the sounds of the marching horses of the Templars rode closer to the camp, and in a brave and cunning, I guess, move, Lee jumped on a horse, disguised self as Duncan, and rode out to meet them. She was met with Duncan, and after some interesting convincing and a charmed person, was able to convince them that she was from the future, and giving a warning to go and defeat Mia Cassell, which was in Ishtamrosa in the bottom of the sewers. And due to some great rolls and some poor rolls on my part, they followed these orders and left. Now, the concentration spell was only an hour, so the group quickly grabbed their things, grabbed some horses, and rode off through the woods. These horses were designed to go through the woods and actually made the travel that much faster. And without much of any issue, they arrived at the base of the mountains.
Request knowledge on who designed these horses.
They were trained by Aluna herself. And then Raz killed the duck. And he's gonna go figure that out.
Oh no.
So this is where we're gonna bring our session back at the base. I don't believe I gave a time last time. Probably about midday. So with the sun in the air, peering through these mountains, where in the distance a little ways, as there aren't any floating directly in front of you, you see these islands of pretty good size. For some of them, it looks like you could put like a house or two on. Others, it looks like you could put a whole entire city on top of. And these islands seem to stretch out until you can't see past them.
Do they just look like you could put a house or two, or are there a house or two on?
If you want, you may take a perception check from here. They are pretty far out there, but with +8 and a roll of a 17, the closer ones don't seem to have much of anything in the way of structure. However, with your high enough perception roll, you're actually able to determine that there is some broken structures, things that have long since collapsed. Farther in on the larger islands, you see some of those structures of the similar type that actually are mostly intact. However, you don't see anything inhabited from here, or you can't tell, at least. The sounds that you hear from this area is actually very heavily birds and flying creatures and bugs. There isn't actually much in the way of ground critters, even in this area. One might expect not to find much on the floating islands themselves, but even in this section, there doesn't seem to be too much. There are some here and there, some like rabbits moving around, and maybe a fox or something, but not too much.
Hey Raz, I got you something.
Could you?
I'll do it again.
It will never work.
Ah. Get it. Yep, this way. This way. I'm reversed.
Yeah, you gotta
I just reversed it to do it to him. Do I have to do it this way?
right
get
to
it to-
left. No, you go from
went
your
this
right
way.
to
Went the
your
right
left.
way.
I
You
went
And
the
then-
right way.
No, you went the right way. I went the
Okay.
wrong way.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you-
what the hell? I tried so hard.
it's transformed in the through the portal.
The portal. Yeah.
We almost got that to work the first time.
Almost.
Almost.
Mm.
Okay.
So was I holding up something? Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just giving some description of the land. So I found a pretty cool image that I like to use to denote what this kind of area looks like. The image actually features a core. You don't see one; it's just in the image. I'm gonna blow it up for everyone here in a second. There you go.
Oh, these are okay.
So it's like Avatar Mountains.
Yeah,
Or like Zendikar Mountains.
it's a mix of Zendikar, Avatar, and my own world, because I'm sure I was influenced by both, and I totally forgot about both when I was making it. Something you can actually notice in the picture is there's this giant structure that like looks carved and like super magical relic-y type thing. It's very large. You can actually see those in the islands, but not near as much of them, but like parts of the earth that are flat like that and carved and glowing slightly, as they seem to be partially what's helping the magic remain to float the islands. So something I'm going to try implementing, and I have pretty well in the past, but I'm just going to openly say it now, is when you're in your home terrain, which for Far Traveler this actually would be, the DCs for your checks for survival and knowledge of the area and things like that are going to be significantly less. I have said this before for other things, but that's just kind of be like, who would you ask? I mean, Kylan's good at natural, like most things, but Far Traveler has actually been here, so he also would have a very like good knowledge of things, so his DC is going to be a little lower.
That'll offset my horrible mental skills.
Well, nature, but also survival. You have what, like +8? Yeah. So, all right. Yes. So I told you guys earlier that it would take another about 2 days worth of travel through the mountains to get to where you're headed. Far Traveler's Home, and if you look at Z28, that's where you guys are. Far Traveler's Home isn't actually too far into the mountains itself. It does take a little bit to pass through into the mountains. A little bit extra, and at a certain point, the horses will have to be put somewhere else because you're going to have to go up. And they don't fly.
How many horses are there?
Mm,
I
There's
want to say
there-
4.
I mean,
can't
there's
remember.
my elk in that. I can just get rid of that.
yeah.
I want to say there's 4 horses.
I can't remember if Ormer had his own or not.
Didn't I get to keep the? Yeah, I got to keep mine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to leave my horse behind, so
Is there a cave nearby that we can store them in and give them plenty of food and a place to roam around?
That would be a survival check or an investigation check.
What was our
I
plan?
don't think we have one.
The plan was to get out of Dodge, not really thinking about ending up anywhere. Oh, well. Kylan actually finds the perfect spot. The way the cave works is that there is actually a shaft that leads into some light after being pretty far into the cave, and there's an easy enough place to make a makeshift stable where you could, with a place where water drips into that looks almost like a trough itself for the horses. You can lay some hay for them to sleep on, as they were given plenty of rations for the trip. And you can go out into the grasslands, which are really close, and get a lot of fresh stuff for them as well. And it's a
Alright.
pretty secure place that Kylan has kind of adopted into memory.
And you're sure you can get us back here?
Pretty sure.
Okay.
That's over here, correct?
Yeah, that's gonna be between Z28 and AA29.
Alright.
It's kind of hard to see the AA29, but you can kind of get the number scheme here.
Okay.
Alright, we'll board our horses and continue on foot, I suppose.
Okay. Do you guys have a marching order?
I'll lead.
That's probably safe.
I'll be in the middle.
I'll take
I'll
up the
take.
rear.
I will take front middle then, I suppose.
And then I'll go directly behind Jekt.
Okay.
So it'll be Far Traveler, Lee, Jekt, me, Thaw.
Bob's just gonna like look at everyone's butts in the back.
Ormer cracks his back and goes, "Am I staying here, or is someone going to carry me?"
You're coming along, old man.
I can carry you.
I'm not carrying anybody.
I guess I'll take rear then. And he hops onto Thaw's back.
Okay.
Just pay attention to what's behind you, please.
Kylan, can you please pay attention to what's behind me?
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. As you guys traverse these mountains, at first it's like there's definitely some uphill climb, but there's no actual like strain to it or physical like getting to a wall and having to scale it. The way that these mountains are, and it's actually kind of interesting. It might be more interesting to me than you guys, but the land itself only kind of lumps up like a large hill. But the mountains, the reason why it's a mountain is because a lot of the pieces are floating above it to make it look like this gigantic structure of natural land. So if like in the image, if you look at it again, it looks like there's the floating islands around, and then it's like a ways down and flat. I mean, it's not that far. The image does kind of show there's a little more distance than there is, but once you get to the first couple of floating islands, it's going to be probably about 50 feet up, but a lot of them have ladders and places, pretty good places to throw like a hook up or something, or launch a hook up somehow, like on a bow or something.
All right.
Is a giant eagle strong enough to carry somebody?
Giant eagle?
They have 16 strength.
Oh, yeah.
No, yeah. You could probably carry, with your size, probably carry 2 people pretty easily. Maybe not all their gear, depending on what they've got, but
What size is a giant eagle?
large.
Large.
Large. Okay. I'm pretty sure that what determines how much you can carry is your strength score times 15.
And then times 2 because he's large.
Oh, times 2 because he's large.
Hmm.
You can carry 480 pounds.
So yeah, I can glide people up if and then some can climb.
Hmm.
I can hypothetically fly if we needed to, but eagle form is going to last a lot longer.
Sounds like a good idea.
So let's get to the place we're headed and then fly up.
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest that we avoid as many hazards on the way up as possible. That way, if we are being followed, they're there for our pursuers to deal with instead of us.
That seems like a good plan, actually.
Okay. If you wish, you can do it stealthily, a stealthy travel. That would help with living obstacles, as it were, creatures and such that live in the area.
I strongly suggest we do that.
Okay, that will double your time, but it is pretty safe to do so. And I will require everyone to make stealth rolls, and we'll go with kind of a party averaged type of thing.
My worst enemy.
Oh no. Don't worry, I got you covered.
If he doesn't, I do.
How far do we have to go?
Back is breaking, carry team.
How far do we have to go?
Wow.
On foot, before climbing, you have about 5 miles. Actually, it's closer to about 3 miles, and then whilst traversing the islands, you'll have another 10 to 15 miles. Average of 10.
Which is what we need, right?
How far can we travel in an hour?
These are questions best answered by the PHB, because it has those tables. I think
Are
I
you
missed
considering pass without trace?
Am considering pass without trace.
Just do it.
Yeah,
Do it. Yeah.
pass without trace, and that's an hour.
We'll do pass without trace in the party. You can fly and carry armor and possibly eject. And Lee can hoof it and fly if necessary, and Thok and I can just do it the old-fashioned way.
Oh shit! You know what? I can conjure animals instead of pass without trace, and we can get 2 extra giant eagles and me.
That's a thought. Hadn't even considered that.
That's
Pretty
actually
good.
really good.
What's the duration of conjure animals?
An hour,
Oh, yeah,
and
do
that's
that.
but that'll be at fly speed, so that's
Yeah.
110.
Yeah. Do that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
then we don't worry about being stealthy.
So what's
conjure
the
animals for 2 giant eagles.
okay? How fast can they go?
110 fly speed.
110. And then, wow, that's 3 times the speed you guys could have gone. Pretty
They will be
effectively.
loaded.
Yeah, I know that's true. But still, that's taking away 20 speed per round. Avoided the plow with the turn. That pothole's not as holy as I think you think it is.
I know it's not.
I don't want to get into it because I will never shut up. So, You could
And then
probably
I'll wild shape into one as well.
okay. So yeah, you guys start soaring through the skies at a pretty good pace. Ormer seems to enjoy it, looking out. Everyone, just for fun, go ahead and make perception checks, sight-based.
So those of us that are eagles get advantage.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Kylan gets advantage.
That's the only reason why I said it.
The
Okay,
eagles that Kylan has summoned get advantage, but they're not super special as far as mental, I think.
No, but they can't really communicate, I don't think.
Well, I can talk to them.
Can you?
Because I speak Sylvan.
They are fey spirits who take the shape of animals.
Mhm.
True.
But they still are restricted to the communication of the form that they're in.
Right.
Should I roll one for them?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I don't know if they'll be able to get higher than 26, but
There's ways to communicate non-verbally.
Let's see. It's 2.
Especially if you're
and
driving.
I'm just gonna roll this twice.
Hold my.
Well,
You guys are level
They
10
don't
now,
see
right?
anything.
and I guess I'll roll one
Yes.
for the
Yes, we are
second
level
eagle.
they don't see anything.
Oh well, one of the eagles is really well off.
Okay. I guess it really honestly. Oh, anyways, that gave me a moment to go do something real quick. So as you're flying along, after about an hour, you get to the islands, and another, let's say 45 minutes or so into your flight, you're making really good time. And
An hour or an hour and 45 minutes?
At an hour, we have to land and I have to recast.
oh yeah, well after an hour, you guys get to the islands. So you can land, I guess, is what you can do, because you cut the time in third.
Cool.
So they don't actually get one, because when you land is when you would notice that there were large, giant, huge, well, I guess huge is the word because that's what they are, huge beasts with wings and lizard-like scales and these long faces flying around in the air, snatching up smaller birds. If they can get to them, most of the birds run away. Or some of them even go as to dive down into a small pool of water and catch fish. The water is filled by streams and stuff, so the fish do come along. So fish and other edible plant lives, and they bring it up.
Oh.
Huge.
Fire Traveler, are those native to the area?
DM, are those native to the area?
These are the Quetzalcoatlus. Quetzalcoatlus? Yeah, something like that.
Dinosaurs.
They're not dinosaurs. They're the flying snake things.
Like the Nautilus.
Dinosaurs.
Like the Quetzalcoatl. Weird.
Yeah.
The flying snake things are just caudals.
Yeah.
These are from, what, Xanathars?
Yep. However, the main point was that they seem to be in control of the skies of this area.
How many are there?
Kind Kylan's able to point out 10.
Well,
It's now the time for a pass without trace.
We could pull the avatar trick of the largest sky predator never looks up.
Very well done.
I mean, we could try.
Ah.
I'm not.
Fucking if DM's gonna kill us if we do that. Let's just sneak.
Yeah.
Now pass without trace.
Okay.
Should we redo our stealths?
Yeah, because times have changed.
Okay, let's do better stealth. Oh, thank goodness. This is a pretty good average.
40.
Goddamn.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, those are all plus 10, by the way.
What, 2, 3, 4, 5? So you got what? We got 21 plus 5 plus 22 plus 12 plus 30 plus 50. All divided by 5.
Well, that's without the plus 10s.
Pretty good.
No, I did the 50.
He
You did
does
a
it.
plus-
Okay.
There
Average
you
of
go.
28. I think
Here are
we're
the
pretty
birds.
stealthy.
They do
Oh.
have some feathery parts to them, but
If it attacks me, I'm going to fucking decapitate it.
If it attacks you with a 28 stealth check, we are screwed.
let me roll.
Oh goodness.
If he's rolling, that means there's a chance. Hide.
Well, we-
Oh, fuck.
Oh my god.
That's disappointing because I just used it, but no, they don't seem to pay you any mind.
Shit.
Oh good.
I was being redonkulous, and then I was sad.
Oh my. So this is how tonight's gonna go. All right. We're gonna get fucking.
I've been rolling pretty good all day, so
This is true.
And we were already burning our nat 20s.
oh yeah.
It'll
I just
be
wanted to
okay.
join. Okay, so now that you've gotten to this point, Power Traveler knows all the tricks of the trade. Getting from island to island is kind of a feat that involves sometimes shooting a rope across, tying it to one side, and hand over hand crawling across it. Sometimes they're close enough that you can do, if you're comfortable, you can jump and throw a rope across just in case as a tie, and then jump across and catch each other. The islands seem to have their own kind of magical gravity, something that is residual from their old effects. As they get close, they always give each other enough space to float freely. They don't typically move around too much, but there is in strong winds that can actually change like a current and move them. However, they're designed not to be moved too much, but with their size and their destroyed forms, there is a chance for them to be moved, depending on how the weather is sometimes. But they kind of have this magnetism that pushes them apart.
Let's not get squished then.
As you guys traverse these islands, you see a variety of life. You actually sneak by, and I'm going to say this because as you sneak by them, you can always stop. A group of a wyvern family, just a small little wyvern family.
Anybody want to stop and slaughter them?
No, the objective was to avoid disrupting as many hazards along the way as possible.
Good. That's
Good.
right. Let's go.
I'm glad you remember.
And you find actually quite a bit of strong beast and monstrosities, including wild giant eagles that fly around. More of those. The word is the dinosaurs. Let's go with that. The
Pterodactyls.
Quetzalcoatlus. They're not really
Pterodactyl.
pterodactyls, but yeah.
Quetzalcoatlus.
Quetzalcoatlus, thank you. I'll get that. You see those flying around, giant eagles. You actually see the three-headed beasts that you might recognize from before, floating about. However, they're few and far between, and never with another thing.
Which three-headed beast?
Yeah, which three-headed beast?
The one we encountered in the Druidic Temple.
Yeah.
That was,
chimeras.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. I was racking my brain too. It's like, what the?
Yeah, it was fresh in my mind, but
I would. Do I see any rune carvings?
rune carvings. Yeah, as you go along, those carved work stone that I mentioned before, you do find some of them, pretty close up. Like sometimes they're even jutting out of the top in weird ways, and you're able to mark down any sort of runes if you wish. It will
Let
take
me
a little.
rephrase. On the creatures.
On the creatures, not from what you can see, no. And they don't seem hostile in any way. I mean, they don't see you, so that's another part of that. How long does Pass Without Trace last? An hour?
1 hour.
Okay.
I have 3 casts of it though.
Okay. As another hour goes by, you're getting into the beginning of evening, about 5 o'clock or so, and you hear in the distance the sound on one of the medium-sized islands. This one could probably hold a small town. This probably actually hold about the encampment worth of space. Beyond that, maybe not so much. And these islands aren't flat on top. Sometimes they have more stone that seems to have fallen on them and then is slowly growing like grasses and the beginning of shrubs and stuff. Kind of like when you see those, like, something gets struck by lightning and it kills the whole area and then slowly it gains back to life. It's in that part where it's just those shrubs and the things that don't need too much to live. Flat islands aside. So you hear in the distance the sound of scraping metal against stone. What do you guys do?
Well, that sounds intimidating.
I would hazard a guess that it is the dwarf societies that sometimes scrounge here for precious minerals and
This
gems?
sounds a lot larger than dwarf. That would be
My
a
bad.
good first guess,
what the
but
hell do I guess then?
while rare, you actually think this might be giant.
Well, shit, it's not a dwarf, it's a giant. We're going the whole other direction.
Same basic thing.
Just a different size.
Bigger, yeah.
What kind of giants would be around here?
Typically the ones that are known to be on the mountains are cloud, stone, and occasionally fire.
Well, that's 66 odds of not getting screwed, so we might as well go look.
I mean, okay.
Okay. So you guys, you still have about, we'll say, 5-10 minutes on your pass without trace, so your stealth is still very good. And As you approach silently without leaving a trace, you see in a working shirt and pants a giant with red hair of like fire running down his back and a beard that goes down his chest with a giant pickaxe just chopping away at the earth in front of him.
You know how I said we had 66% chance? He's the 33.
So he's one of the nice ones?
Haha, no.
Okay.
Typically,
Then,
yes, he also has very dark skin. He is a fire giant.
then let's avoid this obstacle as well.
Ganondorf.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. Yeah, let's. How long do we have left on our stealth, Kylan?
It's about 10 minutes. As you are very averse to approaching a fire giant, so would others. Perhaps we should actually seek to secure ourselves a hidden shelter in the vicinity of this giant.
Oh, is it getting late?
If
evening.
we don't have light, it will become very difficult for me to lead us, as I don't have dark vision.
That's okay.
And we'll be much more easily spotted if we, we use a drift globe or something in the night.
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, this is not a bad place to stop for the night.
Let's use our remaining time in stealth to see if we can find a camp that's probably going to be overlooked by the giant.
Okay. Nearby there is what appears to be a small ruins. The giant, for the most part, looks to have his own little camp set up. He has a large canvas strewn between some rocks nearby where he's working, as well as what appears to be his gear.
As we're looking for a place, I will mention over my shoulder to Lee, and don't go snooping off in the middle of the night to take his stuff. The last thing we need is him being alert.
When have I ever been a thief?
Okay. Go ahead and make a. Is this Ivory?
Oh,
A
that's
survival or investigation check.
Can I assist Kylan?
I don't think my 7 in natural environment is going to beat Kylan's 27.
And she does have a leg up on this type of thing. In general, that is. Kylan, you're actually able to find an alcove. If you go down a little ways from the main island, there's a little path that leads into what seems to be a carved out tunnel, long since abandoned, probably carved into by dwarves at one point and then left. And there is a pretty safe place to rest, at least.
Okay.
This
Okay.
looks like a pretty good place to rest.
Alright, so you guys make camp there. And is there anything you wish to do?
You said there were ruins nearby, or we're in ruins or something like that. Is that true?
There are ruins nearby, however, this felt a little safer. But yes.
Okay.
Also, along the way, have we spotted any signs of a trail made by Girk, or whatever his name was?
Girk?
Girk.
Girk.
Derek.
With Kylan's passive survival being so high, you guys really aren't finding any signs of him. However, you don't know if that's just because he was taken effectively or something else. But...
That could be problematic.
All right, so we found a cave.
I'm going to
we
take
did.
first watch.
I'm going
I'll
to take
take
first
second.
watch.
I'm gonna take second.
I'll take the second half.
I didn't hear what Jack had said.
I said second.
Second. So, Far Traveler
So-
Lee, Jack
And then
Doc, and then second half is Kylan?
Well, I would be the entire first half.
Oh, first half. Okay.
Yeah.
If that's how you guys wish to be, or unless you want to slightly adjust from that.
I mean, Kylan has the best perception out of all of us, so
Okay.
Sure, why not? We can all have
Everyone
a little party without her. and,
front load it with everyone, and then Kylan.
Yeah.
Okay. First watch, first quarter. Is there anything you two want to do before, or not really?
Just sort of make sure that Lee doesn't go wandering off to the Giants camp.
I've really never stolen anything.
Well, now's a good time to not start, also.
Okay.
So as the first quarter winds to an end, the continuous sound of the finally seems to cease, and you hear some and then a as the giant seems to be settling down for his evening as well.
He's done all his work and now he's finished.
That's right. So that brings us to the second quarter. You three, is there anything you wish to do?
Just making notes in my journal about my trip so far and what I've seen as far as like the floating mountains and their majesty and the animals and whatnot.
Okay.
I'm gonna talk to Lee a little bit.
I'm going to
Lee,
keep
how
an
are you-
eye on Thok to make sure he doesn't sneak off to steal anything from the giant.
I was gonna do that. Lee, how are you feeling?
Pretty well.
Good. I'm glad. Are you like? Can you feel things better now without being afraid?
I mean, I can always kind of feel it, but it's definitely liberating to be able to just kind of let things happen naturally. Like ignoring everything that happens is straining and stressful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just kind of look off into the distance awkwardly.
Well, you got a nice sword out of it. Also, I appreciate very much what you did with the Templars back there. It's a very good thing. It's very clever. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
Yeah, I agree. So did my father mention anything about me or anything, or my sister at all?
Not your sister. He seemed to be worried about you, and he was like specifically looking for you.
Odds are to probably kill me, but
Why? I mean, he didn't seem like he was angry or murderous. He seemed worried about your safety.
he did.
Like, he wanted to know where you were and was very distraught when I told him that you died assaulting Mia Cassell in the future.
Is there any kind of check with that?
What do you mean a check?
I
Do
don't
you
know.
believe him? that he,
I don't know.
that he
He
said
did
that?
say that.
So Doc's just kind of gonna say, "Oh, okay." Just...
I mean, there's always the chance he wants you safe so he can use you for some nefarious plot, but hey, what are the chances of that?
I mean, yeah. I don't know. Whatever. Let's just continue with the night.
Okay, the night continues uneventfully. The second half. Kylan,
That's me.
perception check for me real quick.
And she rolls a 1.
Can I use my passive?
That's actually better. So yeah, what's your passive?
18.
Okay. You hear the oddest thing. Something seems to be shifting within the walls of your cave.
I will investigate that. Trying to figure out where that's exactly coming from, like what part of the walls.
As you get up and you kind of walk around and kind of listen, trying to figure this out, it seems to be just like on the inside, the most inside part, because this cave isn't that deep. I mean, it's just an alcove with the top and a little bit of an indent, and you just hear this sound of rumbling through the earth and turning. The earth just turning pretty close nearby.
I'm going to quietly wake the party and get the fuck out.
I'm sleeping.
Shut up, Doc.
With her giving, like, do you tell us anything, or do you just say we're leaving?
I think we might die here if we don't leave.
Oh shit.
Who has a passive perception of at least 14?
Missed it by 1. But
Yeah.
the DC might be lower.
Okay, so anyone at 13?
No, I have
I know what
13,
you're saying.
But, okay.
I know what you're saying, but I'm thinking about it being pointed out as well. Actually, does Kylan actually point it out or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
If anybody's questioning me about leaving, I will point it out.
Well,
Oh, this is a text.
that's neat.
Okay. Anyone else around 13, 14, 12 maybe?
Mine's at 9.
Oh goodness, I'm 12. If that actually matters.
We'll say with
But
positive.
I'm super not paying attention right now.
Yeah, okay. So, Fire Traveler, you also can kind of hear it. It's very difficult to pick up, but there definitely seems to be some sort of rumbling from within. Do a nature check. So I didn't mention this in the brief bio I gave you earlier. However, an earth elemental type of creature that is known to roam through these islands is a Zorn. They're very rare, but they typically mean gems and jewels are nearby and treasure.
Ooh.
Do
They
I
are.
believe this to be the rumblings of a Zorn?
It could either be that or a different thing that can burrow. Effectively, the way it's kind of turning and churning in this Earth, it sounds like something that's native to the plane of Earth. So it could be a just basic Earth elemental, or nothing. Gelobdurs actually have Earth glide, but they do burrow.
So you, as a DM, may want to know that Earthglide is different than burrowing in that you don't disturb the terrain at all.
Yeah, it seems to be actively doing something. Is the
Active
thing.
burrowing?
Like it's actively burrowing in the terrain to get something, possibly. That's
Okay,
why
so it's
it
very
sounds
unlikely.
Hmm?
It's very unlikely to be in the Earth's elemental, actually. So either a Zorn or a burrowing creature.
Yeah.
Bigger than us?
No, it doesn't seem larger than you guys. Based on the
Well,
sounds, it doesn't seem to be moving in like distance, just around something.
Kylan, I don't know if there's any reason to panic. If it is the sort of creatures that live around here, it's probably just eating.
Something's eating the walls. It sounds like the freaking place is gonna collapse.
I'm going back to bed.
I'm right there with you.
I, for one, am not staying in this cave.
Just don't go disturbing the fire giant.
Will do.
Okay, so everyone go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Attempt to.
Okay.
Yep.
It's not too hard. It's like that moment when you wake up and you're like, it's nothing. And you go back to bed. Like dealing with a small child. So, Kylan, you leave?
I leave the cave.
Okay. Where are you going?
The whatever route we took to get here, just outside of that, I'm just not seeing where I think the walls are gonna collapse.
Okay, so you can kind of go up a little ways, and you can get to a little bit more of a flatter area where the ruins are. In the distance, you hear the slight snoring sound of the giant.
Well, that explains the rumbling dam.
I will continue to keep a vigilant eye on the way we entered to that place, and just hope and pray that my party members do not die in a cave collapse.
It's okay, Kylan. I can rage if I get surprised.
I can Hexblade's curse the cave so that it has a 50% chance to miss me.
That's, I mean, sure. All right. The rest of the night goes uneventfully.
I'd like to check around for the plant life.
Plant life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just looking to augment my herbalism kit.
Most of the plant life in the area is mosses and grasses, stuff that doesn't need too much. Actually, as you're kind of checking out the area, some of it seems to be smooth stone under the grasses, and they're just breaking through. This seems to have been a place that was completely cobblestoned. Actually, the smooth stone used to be very fine and almost polished like marble. Not necessarily that high of quality, but some pretty good stuff. Something that you wouldn't find in a regular city. Other than that, however, the plant life is pretty generic, breaking down what is there.
Okay.
Okay, so the morning sun rises, everyone is awakened. So if you need to, you can take your long rest for those who use spells. And the new day starts.
Kylan, you have to make coffee since you woke us up in the middle of the night.
I'm not in the cave.
Kylan!
If she's around, she's ignoring you. If she's not around, well, then she can't hear you.
I start grumbling curses in Undercommon and making coffee.
Okay.
I'm gonna get up, stretch, and step out of the cave. Is Kylan anywhere to be found?
Not within sight, no. Not immediate sight. You are a little lower. If you are to get up to the main area where it is a little flatter, you might see her. Kylan, around this time also, the giant is beginning to stir.
Okay, I'll head up higher. I'm not really concerned about the giant.
Okay, so you do find her up there. It was just messing with plants.
So, how did you sleep?
My sleep was long past.
Aha. Well,
How did
cave's
you?
fine. Cave's fine. Told you it would be.
I believe you, because you know what you're talking about. But, just in case, I don't want to die. Wouldn't it be so tragic if we came all this way in all of our adventures, and then we die in a cave collapse?
I don't see how.
I'm sorry, the last time I was around grumbling walls, I got the fuck out. And I'm gonna continue that trend.
I'm sure that when most people were inside crumbling walls, they were, like, birthed.
Are you just talking to the cave over there?
Shit, never mind.
Good curve, good curve. Yeah, Doc's not. You're not there. You could go up there though.
No, it's okay. I do
Okay.
want to message Calumet.
Okay, what would you like to send him?
So last time Vola sent me a message, I'd like to say, I'm glad to hear you're all right. How are you doing? How are you recovering? Also, how's Chrysos doing?
Are we trying to kill Kylan with the cave?
Yes.
Ah,
After a little while, you do get a reply, and this will probably be a little bit in the future. I just kind of want to get it out of the way so I remember.
Yeah.
And she's not awake yet. You hear the reply of, I'm recovering. We're all doing pretty well here. However, Calamance says that enemy forces are nearby, but they seem to have left again. And Chrysos is doing well. A young man is doing a good job at leading the people. And then that's the end of the message.
I do my morning commune with nature.
Okay.
They can go for 300 feet. I want that 300 feet to be around the cave, so I'll go close enough to the cave. And I want to know about powerful elementals.
Elemental?
And influence from other planes of existence.
So this whole place feels like it's been torn directly out of the elemental plane of Earth. However, powerful elementals wise, there really isn't anything that comes up. Is it the most powerful or an actually like higher tier being?
I'm guessing anything noteworthy.
Yeah, something noteworthy. Nothing really noteworthy in terms of powerful elementals.
Not the like super powerful fucking rift amalgamation thing that destroyed the like vent area.
Nothing like that.
I take even less comfort in that. Now I'm sure the cave is going to collapse.
Must be the only reason that was happening.
Only reason.
So do we continue travels?
I mean, we should.
Okay.
Okay.
So stealth rolls again?
If you guys are planning on stealthing, then yes.
Do we still need to worry about Quetzalcoatlus?
Not so much. There's always a variety of beasts in the area that swarm around, but the whatever flock you had gone by seems to be elsewhere.
What of a predatory nature?
Predatory nature? Most things.
Is there anything like flying that would get us?
Go ahead and do perception checks.
Sweet. This is going to be one of those roll 20 days.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Ooh.
Kylan's.
Oh man, I'm gonna die to a cave.
Give me 1 second. Roll me a d8. Okay. I need to get my bearings on these things because I always get these confused with other things. 1 second. So you see a gigantic winged bird thing with bright blue and red colors on it, way off in the distance, but in the direction you're going.
I don't suggest flying.
Fair. I wonder how we missed that huge flying fucking thing.
From here, it looks like a goose flying but nearby. You know how you see the goose formations, the bees, that they're kind of like, they're not that big in the sky. It looks that big, but with Kylan like going, oh wait a second, that thing is fucking huge. It's just way out there.
She doesn't mention it at all, though, right? Just, I don't feel like flying today.
I don't suggest flying, cause that thing's gonna fuck us up. That might be a cave.
If it isn't, that's what we're gonna call it now.
Okay, so stealth.
I suggest stealth.
Okay.
Okay.
So stealth checks.
Yeah, go ahead and roll your stealth checks. Are you doing pass without trace again?
course.
Okay.
Ooh, nice.
Barteller, you rolled so low.
Yeah, I know. It's a 5 on a d20. My bad.
I'll try and bring up the average guy.
There you go.
Well done.
Not bad. Not as good as last time, but not bad. You guys successfully sneak your way away.
That's still the same DC bracket for the party.
Yeah.
25 to 29.
Oh shit.
So, again, you guys keep going, and you're experiencing similar things every once in a while. Again, you'll run into a ruins, some larger than others. Is there anything you guys are wanting to stop for in particular, or are you guys just kind of let's keep moving? You may come back if you got time.
I will always advocate for moving forward.
Yeah, I don't really have much interest in these areas. I mean, Jack, you said that the Obsidian Tower was in the Arathakab Mountains, but do you see any kind of symbols of that anywhere?
I'll look around and see if I see any of the symbols around.
I'll share
As-
my runes with him.
As he's looking around, I will make mention of the place that I specifically personally saw marks of it.
That's farther into the heart of the mountains. That
Yeah.
was in one of your trips long time ago, or a while ago.
Anyways, that's the information I relate to him. I've seen traces of the Obsidian Tower, but it's far from here.
Well, I'll still take a look around and see if I can see anything.
Okay. You don't find anything in terms of the Obsidian Tower. There are some sigils every once in a while that are somewhat intact. Most of them are destroyed. Every once in a while, you'll find one, and they look kind of like a house symbol of some sort. And when you do find them, if you like, you can find pieces of that same one in the same island, but never on a different one. Or if you do, it's like a very close one that looks like it was once connected based on architectural stuff.
Okay. Huh. That's interesting. Okay. think I'm picking something up.
Okay. So even with your half pace, with the initial travel time being decreased so much, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you arrive at one of the larger islands in the area. This one, however, and Farchava, you know this to be your home island, is the base of it comes to this very sharp point, and it reaches up and around almost 150 feet above you. And it's kind of this V shape. So it was a challenge for the first climbers, and it's always been one of those test of strengths to get up it as a young core.
I was going to ask Kylan to eagle us up there, but
I mean, doesn't that defeat the whole purpose?
of
The climb. You
I
have
don't
to
know.
climb up
Fuck.
there by hand, Thok.
is it Far Traveler? It's not your culture, Lee.
I mean, I'm just talking about mountains in general, man. Like, what's the point of a mountain if not to climb it?
Far Traveler, what do you say?
I don't see what significance it would have to you folk.
See, exactly.
Shut up, I want to see him climb the mountain in full armor.
Hey, just because I could do it doesn't mean, I need to.
Right. And we all believe that you could do it, I
You're
suppose.
goddamn right I could.
I mean, just maybe not today. Not,
I mean-
not feeling it.
I mean, we already have a fucking giant eagle swarm from this druid over here, then why work hard when you can work smart?
Right. Or let other people work smartly for you.
See, exactly, and that's even better.
All right, Doc.
Waiting for Kylan to come out of her trance.
Carlin just goes, 1 second.
She's still paranoid the rock's going to crush her.
I mean, this is basically like an upside down mountain, right?
Oh, I get it. The DM setting us for rocks fall. Everyone dies.
Don't do it. Oh no.
And then giant ass birds come from the sky, and everyone dies from them.
No, not ass birds.
Kylan, now that you're back, do you think you can summon those eagles again to bring us up to the top of this island?
I look around to see if there's any huge ass birds.
Do a perception check.
I am worried enough that I'm going to transform into a giant eagle first.
No, there doesn't really seem to be anything of giant ass birdiness.
I mean, you could have just asked for help and then you wouldn't have needed to use a wild shape for that before you're supposed to cast a spell, but okay.
So then, as bonus action, I undo my wild shape, and then I cast Conjure Animals for some giant birds, and then go back into my wild shape.
Oh my god. Alright, I mean, she is an independent woman who does need a man for a baby, but okay.
It
Oh.
totally follows her character. You just become a giant eagle in any emergency scenario.
Did you say emergency scenario as in we're casually standing around?
We're casually standing around, and I'm very vigilant of caves above me.
Ah,
Oh, you definitely see a cave in there somewhere.
Shit, run.
This is going in my bio. This is like, it has to be a part of Kylan's character now.
Fear of caves.
Afraid of caves.
that's a good thing.
Like-
It's April Fool's. Kylan, there's a cave.
It's
Dang.
funny.
Additional
are-
features and
caves are
traits. Very afraid of caves.
Okay, so some of the eagles now blocks.
So, Ray's was kind enough to remind me of my own stupidities that the core are definitely a nomadic people. However, this is the location of where they end up for a little while at a time, especially to do tests of strengths, like I had said before. And those tests of strengths typically happen in the beginning of the summer months, which is where you guys are.
Makes sense. Wouldn't want to mountain climb in the snow.
It becomes significantly more dangerous.
Different tests of strength with different precautions. So how you guys getting up there?
Conjure Animals, and I wild shape into a giant eagle.
Okay. And you cart them up. Um,
It's not culturally significant to them, but it is culturally significant to me, so I will climb the climb.
this is something you've done multiple times in your lifetime. Go ahead and make. What's your passive athletics at advantage?
22?
Yeah, you just without worrying about the other people at all because they're just flying up. You scale the thing with quick and great ease. The only real difficulties for you at this point is the fact that it at certain points is more than a 90-degree angle.
It's not that bad, actually. I'm actually significantly more agile than I was when I was younger.
If Far Traveler is going to climb, then I will just do the Conjure Animals and not wild shape.
Yeah, it's fine.
When I reach the peak, I will sit and reflect for a moment upon how easy that journey was compared to how it was when I was a child, and think about all the things I've overcome since then.
Nice.
Yeah, as a nice sentiment. For those of you on the Giant Eagles, you were met with a response, however, because you can fly up there a little faster than our traveler can climb. Uh,
I don't know, man. I can dash, and I got 40, 80, 120 climb.
Holy cheese.
He can climb fast and we can fly burdened.
Never mind. You hit the wall and just like leaping up it like it's nothing, and then the eagles are like trying to keep up.
That's ridiculous.
You get up to the top, and up there's your kinsmen are wandering about a little bit. A few of them notice you, but they give you your time to reflect, as it is natural for people to do so after doing that climb, and then to kind of let you go. And then all of a sudden, two giant eagles show up, and they get into a very defensive, ready for action stance to make sure those eagles aren't aggressive.
I will call out to them, hold your attacks. Those are companions of mine.
Instantly relax, put their stuff away, and more or less just keep going about their business. However, once you do that, one of them, hail, brother.
Greetings, brother, I assume?
Yeah, everyone's family in it.
But you didn't specify gender.
Yeah, brother, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. We've been expecting you. The ancestors have foretold of your return.
This is good.
Yes. And of course your companions as well. We have been watching you closely and have heard many great things of your travels and all the things you've done and seen. However, with your sending of the small one, the elders have asked to see you upon your revival.
Okay. Where do they currently reside?
They are in one of the larger council tents type of thing. If you're thinking like Torin type style tents, they're the giant teepees with a huge amount of space enough, and then typically there is some sort of makeshift table that is built for them to kind of commune at with other people.
Okay. That wasn't descriptive as to where they are.
Where? Center of the island.
But... Okay. Thank you for the heads up. I'll go there immediately.
May the ancestors guide you.
They always do.
I'm gonna dispel the birds.
And everyone on the birds majestically falls on their face. No.
Majestically. Shit.
It's a majestic entrance to be on a bird, no matter what it happens after. Mimicking Partrell's movements as best you can, attempt to not offend people of the tribe. Do a charisma check.
Okay.
I hope somebody gets that reference. Just
Bumblebee tuna.
Bumblebee tuna.
You're not disrespectful.
What?
You're not disrespectful, at least.
Okay, I mean...
But everybody knows you're trying.
Yeah.
Aw. You're gonna try to...
So, the whole fly up, I've been taunting Thok that Far Traveler climbed it.
Yeah.
He did.
Because he wanted to.
Oh, that's a save. Oops. That's a right.
Of
course.
Bumblebee.
Are you trying to mimic him too?
Huh? Yeah, I was. No, I was just fucking. Wasn't doing it. Unfortunately, I rolled a 2 and then a 20.
I appreciate Bumblebee tuna.
Bumblebee tuna.
Uh,
I don't
taking
get
the
that
first roll, it's not. They just kind of ignore you, but it's not necessarily all that exquisite. um, yes, you make your way swiftly to the Elder's tent, which again is like this gigantic teepee. Um, your balls are showing. What?
Yeah. Barbles. That's a bumblebee tuna thing. Just continue.
Okay. I don't get it. That's okay. Um, so you make your way to the center of the camp where you do see the tent, and the flaps are open, letting in the natural light, as well as it's raised a little bit off the ground to let the light in from below. And inside sit four elders. They do look a little older, but they're not like the rickety elders. Like, whip a step. They're more just like respected among the tribe, the family. Uh, and it is split 2 women, 2 men. And yes, come in, come in, all of you. It's it's good to see that the ancestors have brought you here safely. Uh,
Are they speaking common at this point, or do they address us in core first?
uh, they're speaking common for everyone's sake. They turn to you in core and will give you a traditional greeting, um, and praising you on your uh, trip and your return back. Also,
On my travels?
your travels, and they will refer to you as Skell. I attempt to mimic the greetings to them. They appreciate your attempt. They seem to be fairly uh, open people, especially since you have Far Traveler Skell with you. How was your climb up the the mountain, Skell? I know it has been some time since you've scaled this one in particular.
It was far simpler than I remember.
They always seem that way after a while. You've grown quite a bit, it seems, since you've last left. Stronger and swifter.
Got those big gleaming muscles.
And while it is always good to have you back, and we expect you to be on your way shortly, as the ancestors tell us that you have much to do, very important tasks. Um, there is something we must deal with, and that is the small one. Do you need him, or what are we doing with him? I guess is our question for you.
Oh boy. So, like, I prefer to generalize role playing. Do you need me to do it like word by word? Yeah, exactly. Where do I start?
You can generalize if it helps you.
Okay, so I am going to uh, respectfully thank them for their greeting and mention that my tasks to be a diplomat to the Templars didn't go that great, and that's mostly because Duncan Atreides has probably lost his damn mind. However, there is an even greater threat, in my opinion, to all life, which is the soul devourer that the mages harbor. So the reason that we need the small one is that he knows how to reach the domain of the soul devourer.
I see, I see. That is some big world stuff. If the ancestors are to call upon us, we of course will answer in any times of war. It's been a long time since we have fought in anything of significant scale, but we are always ready. I seem to be saying this more for the benefit of the group rather than our travelers. Who here, gesturing to the rest of the group, represents this small band of folks besides our Skell?
Everyone's gonna look at me, aren't they?
I asked the thought.
Yeah.
I step forward a little bit and then awkwardly look at Thok and step back.
That would be me.
Are you the one who leads our own into battle?
Would I lead your own into battle?
As in, are you the one instigating our fight?
No. That would be one of your own. I would not ask this of your tribe unless you yourself wanted to do it for the good of the world.
One of the females. Good answer. We only do what we want to do, and what the ancestors ask us to do. It is good that you answer with our freedom over your desires.
Well, if my desires had precedence over your freedoms, then what world would we be fighting for in the first place?
And this is why we don't go to war for just anyone. The well, to defeat the Lich, yes. A Soul Devourer is the greatest abominations of taboos in our society. And that is something we can't overlook if it is anywhere we know about. We will fight.
I have a personal stake in this mission. As I gesture to Thok, it has taken this boy's mother.
And my daughter!
Then we will see that she is freed so she can return to the ancestors. Or at least make it to the ancestors, if she has not been.
Thank you for taking concern in my matters.
It's more the matters of a whole, but yes, if something worth fighting for always gives a little bit more drive. It sounds like we have much to prepare, as do you all. We will let you go on your way, rest, relax. The climbing of the youth to their adulthood will be on the morrow if you wish to be there to support and view that. It is always something else.
That is the matters of the Soul Devourer. There is still the matter of Duncan Atreides, who intends to destroy the world.
Right. Sounds like two sides of a war where neither side is worth fighting for.
That is why I, as my role as ambassador, believe it would be best to destroy them both. However, I have learned much on my journeys in the ways of alchemy, which I think will be the way to actually put up a fight against both, which is why I have brought Ormer, and I gestured to Ormer, with me.
Oh, right. And he is an alchemist?
He is the one who trained me. Yes.
Then, look over at Omer. I guess you will be a great teacher to our people as well.
He and I have actually devised a way to both destroy the defenses of the Templars and to empower the same defenses against the mages.
Then we will begin the manufacturing of whatever these measures are.
Look over at Ormer.
I've got my workout cut out for me, but it's nothing new. I've worked for all sorts of unsavory folk. This might be a good change of pace. I mean, it has been to work with you two, of course, Justin, to Far Traveler and Jack. And
The lessons you teach my people will never be forgotten.
yeah, your ways are good at remembering, I feel. It's always good to know that your legacy will continue on.
I give him a smile at that.
Just point me in the direction of your alchemical supplies and I'll get ready to go. Well, that might be limited, but we can do our best. Oh, well. Work with what you got, I guess. Anything else for us?
It's very likely Duncan Atreides himself will be here within 2 weeks.
Okay.
So if we are to make peace with him and turn him against the Soul Devourer, the decision. Otherwise, we should prepare for battle.
You opened it out for me. Still there?
Yeah, you're digitized, man.
Oh, he's typing it out.
There's also the third option of running and preparing yourself.
I have a feeling that I doubt this race runs from stuff.
They're nomads.
We may move from place to place, but we will never run from conflict. Not
That's very
without
brave
a
of you.
strategic reason. But no. It's unlikely that that will ever happen.
Ject,
Yes.
if you want, you have the opportunity to ask about locations of the Obsidian Tower.
That is a good point. I will produce the journal and approach the elders as respectfully as I can, trying to mimic some of the same courtesies that Far Traveler gave to them and inquire about their knowledge of either this symbol or the Obsidian Tower.
As Jekt mentions that, I'll pull out my map and point out where I remember the symbol being.
Yes, that's deep into the mountains. Typically, we're in that area about once every 5 years. It's a little bit more treacherous in that area. It's where the majority of these islands fell, and thus the arcane pull is very strong there, and some more dangerous beings tend to thrive. I can only give you that warning. Other than that, Skell will guide you, I'm sure, if this is where you need to go, if he's been there before.
Thank you for your information.
May the ancestors guide your journey. I sense that a connection to some of your own might be there.
I hope I find out something. But thank you.
And also, one more thing to ask. While we do feel capable and very fit, do you think there are any kind of supplies that you could we could use in order to kind of power ourselves for any threats that we might encounter?
One of the men walks over to you directly and takes out one of the climbing hooks that he has and takes the back end of it and clings your armor and says, "Take this off, and you'll be better off."
I laugh.
Okay, all right.
Too much weight. You're gonna fall and die.
Okay.
All this excess gear, gone. All you
Okay.
need is your climbing supplies and your food. And even then, you should be able to hunt.
Will there be any dangerous beasts that could kill us?
The core protects ourselves without such metals, but if you cannot, then perhaps you should take it. Good luck.
I will actually, put a hand on Doc's shoulder and say, "We've actually brought them more than they could supply us.
That's fair enough.
The knowledge of alchemy will be far better served than we could possibly hope to retrieve."
Okay.
Having said that, I've got your back still.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Skull is a fine enough guide, and he'll take you where you weighted down folk will not have too much issue. If it's a major threat, sometimes avoiding it is the best option.
Sometimes telling it you're a time traveler is really good too.
You say this
we
aloud?
are likely to experience that's only a temporary solution.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Get a couple of raised eyebrows.
Oh, I'm sure you've already heard this story. Gossip travels quickly.
Yes, it's so bizarre, even still. Though the ancestors do like to tell it often. It's enjoyable.
So how long do they estimate, if they've been watching our journeys, that Duncan himself will take to get here?
Based on the size of his band and the amount of terrain he's going to have to travel, unlikely that he'll go through the forest. He'll have to go around. I'll give you 10 days.
Then, Jekt, we have 5 days to seek this obsidian tower of yours.
That limits our time, but any time that we could spare, I would be very grateful.
As I mentioned, you just sort of blindsided me with the question, but it isn't taboo for Core at all.
I know.
I suggest quick travel then. 5 days is not going to give you much time to get there, do what you need to do, and get back. Well, 5 days both ways.
So you will unfortunately not be able to witness the climbing of the youth, I'm guessing.
Depends. How does flight consider into that travel time?
If you go on the wings of birds, then perhaps you could cut the time in half. Much of it is scaling these mountains.
All we have to do is convince Kylan that there are no caves.
It's not common. You guys, or Far Traveler would know that Core don't typically have mounts, like flying mounts. They prefer to travel on foot. They have some that will carry gear sometimes, but most of the time it's their own strength that they use to go from place to place. There's honor in that.
What time of the day is it?
At this point, still not even quite 4 o'clock. So midday still.
We could watch the festivities tomorrow.
Then you are willing to fly.
Yes.
Though you seem tentative, I am very grateful.
It serves our purposes best. If we end up having to spend a day where at our location, then we would have to. We need to be able to allow ourselves that time.
Is this just a roundabout way to avoid sleeping in another cave?
Oh, I'm not sleeping in any caves.
Yes. Hence the question, is this just a roundabout way to avoid sleeping in another cave?
Regardless of what we do, I'm not sleeping in a cave.
Kylan, I'm paranoid. I know that for a fact. I have dreams that my father's going to wake me up in my sleep, but I've never been paranoid enough to for something to happen once and then think it's going to happen again. I don't think every single cave has a some kind of monster dwelling within it.
Who the fuck said monster? I sensed no monster. That cave was on the verge of collapse.
And if it
And
does
you
collapse,
all should be dead.
if it does collapse, we got me, you know?
I don't care if you roll a nat 20 on that deception, she is not deceived.
I don't think that was a deception check. I think Zoc genuinely thinks he's safe from a cave-in.
Yeah, you're goddamn right.
Then he's all kinds of self-deception today.
I mean, he's a pretty decently high-level paladin now. He might be right.
Yeah, fucking
You know what?
told
Okay.
Hey, you go ahead and save the rest of the party. While I just don't bother with having a cave collapse.
Oh,
You know?
so much for someone who cares for their family like they're a litter of pups.
You know, I love you guys dearly like a litter of pups. But fuck caves.
Just gonna whisper in Kalen's ear. Wolves sleep in caves.
We left the horses in a cave.
Oh dear.
You trusted the warhorses in a cave. There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, that cave was safe. You said so yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So get the fuck over it.
Kylan is debating going to get the horses.
Alright, Kylen, look at it this way. Caves are now binary. Either they're safe or they're not.
All caves are not safe.
I mean,
This is
certainly, by all
Kylan's
means-
assumption.
By all means, go ahead and fly 4 days and miss what's going on.
But having Nate around for playing is useful.
Oh, I know. Because like there was that one time where Kylan
Nate's
tried.
whole arc happened and Nate wasn't there for it.
Also, he didn't play for like 3 sessions because he wanted to be like a lone wolf.
I didn't play for one session, and it was because I wasn't going to get captured by Templars.
No, you did play for 3.
It did
There
stretch out longer.
There
Yeah.
was one session where I didn't interact at all. There was, on the other sessions, there was some interaction.
Anywho,
Push it
we're
out,
coming
son.
up on midnight.
Yes. All right. Any final thoughts before we kind of
I'm gonna get some
conclude?
Korish food.
I want to keep an eye out to see if I can spot that bird again.
Okay.
Not out of fear, out of actual curiosity.
You don't see it anywhere. For dinner, there's a healthy helping of different vegetables and roots and grains, stuff that they can grow. And because you are guests, you get a small bird that they have
Is-
caught for each of you.
Stock
as
is
in
going to act.
like good, like a chicken-sized bird that they have cooked up for y'all, and you're able to eat off of that as a group. But it's mostly the vegetables.
Stock is going to like try to eat the vegetables and like act like it's really good.
It's kind of bland, no matter what you do with it.
Oh, it's
I
super
mean,
bland.
it's
really
fresh
good.
veggies and roots and stuff. So I mean, like you get carrots, which are typically pretty sweet, but like the grasses that they try to feed you are grasses.
Considering the more or less royal upbringing Sock had, this stuff sucks.
Yeah.
Also, like the rations that I've been having, I'm guessing are like fucking decent.
Yeah, you get your salted meats and jerkies plus
Yeah.
some breads and stuff. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's not. They're not feeding you like you're a rabbit, which they are
I'm gonna
right
act
now.
like it's. I'm gonna say this is fantastic.
You get a couple of chuckles to the people who are giving out the food to you. We do not get very many outsiders, but we know the ways of the world. Most people do not eat like this.
Which is a shame because it's delicious.
They will accept your lies and they leave you be.
Can I do a deception check?
Sure. Okay. They think you're pretty genuine. You seem to enjoy it, so they start giving you more. You seem to appreciate it. So like, oh, you really like it. Oh, okay. And so they bring you more, and they actually like push the chicken away from you and give you more of the veggies and stuff, and they start serving the chicken to everyone else.
Thanks.
And the chicken is fire roasted to perfection. It's juicy and it's seasoned perfectly with just different herbs that they've grown themselves, and it's fresh. Oh, and it's mouth-wateringly delicious.
I would like to sleight of hand and try to steal like a few slices back from like Jacked.
I will.
Can I slap his hand because he's trying to take Jack's food?
Everyone can slap his hand if they wish.
After whoever else slaps his hand, I'll slap his hand just for the fun of it.
Lee just slaps him across the face. Just do it.
You complain this much about veggies, but then you want a good berry? See,
Yeah.
this is why. This is why I thought.
So
I
Doc
never said
reaches
I never said
across
good
the
berries.
table to the farthest person away from him and is trying to be sneaky as he pulls chicken off of his plate. Fartraver's like, no. Lee's like, oh, this sounds like fun. Slaps it too.
I can imagine like he's like leaning over, but he's like doing like the hand walkie thing, like kind of towards it, trying to be
Can I, like-
casual.
Can I like still grab the chicken?
Yeah, you can try, but you've been kind of slapped away, and your reaction is to pull back.
I'm gonna fucking stick with it.
You gonna try
What save is
stopping
that?
him? It's not a check unless someone tries to stop you at this point.
If it's Jack's food, I absolutely was trying to stop him.
Opposed athletics.
Jesus.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Fuck, you're able to
Can
wrestle
Jack
some.
choose to not have his
Uh,
food stolen.
Yeah.
I will do that. So, was that athletics?
You can assist Far Traveler.
Yeah, I will assist Far Traveler.
Oh,
Of course.
Dude, you got like two arms, like try to like hold me back, and I'm like, no.
Doc just reaches across and takes a bite into the chicken that you have on your plate. Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, thanks.
All right. How about that?
If you wanted the bird, we could have served you some. Are you infesting his food?
No,
his body with like
his body.
fleas.
Small. Yeah, small. You stole my chicken.
Is that a strength save? So, Thok, you bite into the chicken, and then all these bugs just start rushing it from your arm onto your hand onto your face, and just start covering you, and you're like, chicken hits the floor.
Can I try to catch the chicken before it hits the floor?
Oh, I think,
Also
I think it's
seconded
fine.
on catching the chicken.
Dex check.
I'll assist Lee because she's gonna have better than I am on that.
Okay, just straight dex check.
Yeah, with advantage then.
I vote this be a chicken check.
Chicken.
Chicken dex check. 21.
You catch the chicken.
Got it.
Okay, thanks. And I'd reach for it again.
I don't think you may have wound up too far.
I moved 5 feet. I don't know where I moved. I might have moved into the table.
Maybe.
Lee, do you try to stop him from grabbing the chicken?
Oh yes, absolutely. I'm holding it over my head and playing keep away at this point.
South. High or low, Thok?
Low.
Okay, you don't actually walk into the table. You pull back, and then you can walk back forward. And
I
then
want that fucking chicken.
Lee is keeping it away from you.
I'm gonna summon a short sword.
Okay, this is getting out of hand.
Your servers just
Pointed
walk
at it.
away, just shaking their head and leave.
This is the best
Oh.
role we've ever had. I mean, come on. This is great.
And then I'm going to cast Chill Touch and just tickle Thok's buttocks from behind.
Do I make a con save for that?
Are you trying to damage him with it, or?
No, just tickle him.
Okay, so you just feel this really awkwardly cold part of your butt now. It's like, oh,
I
oh.
still want that fucking chicken.
However, with the 28 athletics, Lee, you have to beat that with an acrobatics or athletics check to save the chicken.
Alright. It's not possible.
Oh.
If I rolled a 20.
So yeah, Thok just swipes the chicken from your hand and...
As he's swiping it from her, can I sleight of hand it away from him?
Sure.
Yes.
Good luck, buddy.
Oh my God.
Okay, so Thok, can you beat that in a perception check? You go to bite down. Ha! Fire Traveler's got it.
Lee, what you do?
So the server leans into you as you ask and says, this was actually a specially caught fowl for you guys. We don't have more.
Oh, that means fireballs. Fireballs, everybody.
What did you do? I want it.
So while Thok is distracted with Lee, I'm actually going to go over to where Jack was and return his chicken.
Jack, you get a piece of chicken with a Thok bite out of it, but most of it's still there.
Pat him on the back.
Thanks.
You got your chicken, or fowl. It's not actually a chicken technically, but
But it's funner to say chicken.
Yeah. There is a little bit more on the table. Do you want me to carve some more?
Who, me?
There's like an entire chicken there, guys. Why are we fighting over this one leg?
Yeah, it's
Because
I mean-
Thok is so happy with his vegetables.
Are you still hungry? I'm so sorry. I'll get
the
more.
thing-
I will.
No, it's not your fault. So the thing is, that I don't want to ask you for favors. Like I'd rather like be a dick to them than inconvenience you.
We're your servers. We're here to help today. I don't expect it more, but
But
Part one, it was Jack's food that he took. Part two, it was funny.
if you need more food, we can get you more food.
I'm good, thanks though.
Then why
And
are
I'm
you
gonna,
fighting?
I'm gonna reach for Kylan's food.
All right.
Do you do anything, Kylan?
Yeah, let me think. Oh my gosh.
Kylan even eat meat?
What?
Do you eat meat?
Yes.
Vegan.
Okay.
Yes, quite specifically.
How do you take care of your pup?
I'm guessing I reach for the plate and then like I kind of like fall on my arm and I just like fall on the table. Like food all over me.
So yeah, you're trying to be like, no, you're fine, and you're reaching behind you for, and you don't even remember the fact that you're still away from the table, talking to a server, and you actually just fall on your back trying to reach for the table.
I've seen people do that.
What kind of a room are we in?
You're in a small tent with a single table. So Jack's trying to walk away, and it's not possible. Actually, if you're having issues, the core bag, if you wish a private seating area, we have near the kitchens. We'll get your food there for you.
If it's not raining, it might actually be more appropriate to be eating out under the night sky.
They're trying to accommodate the outsiders, but if you guys want me on the outside, they'll actually open up the area by pulling away the tent or opening up the tent if people would desire that more.
Yeah, at least for Ormer.
Yeah, Ormer's really enjoying it. He's outside already, like just looking at the sky and eating. But you guys can be with him for sure.
Okay.
Uh,
So once we're done with dinner, I'm gonna like lay down and like just look at the stars.
I mean, in this world, there isn't light pollution really. However, even in the crisp mountain air, with the clear skies, the stars seem to be even brighter than usual.
No light pollution, but 3 moons?
That's true.
Hmm.
There is that, but today is an especially low moon day, we'll say, as well. Just to light up the sky just a little bit more with the stars.
Just for DM's convenience, because he has been tracking the moons.
No, not explicitly. If you guys were all lycanthropes, I would be. I would legit have the calendar every freaking day. Like, okay, this is today, this is today, this is today. But I haven't been paying attention too much to the dates.
Hey Ormer, sorry, I'm gonna lay down next to Ormer when he's just chilling. Hey Ormer,
Oh dear.
do you ever think about stuff?
What stuff?
Oh, I don't know. Things.
Puts his hand on his leg.
What is happening?
Yeah, I'm a scientist. I think about things all the time.
Huh. Where do you think those lights are?
I was once told they were fireflies in the sky. Someone else said that they were giant balls of burning gas. But he was an idiot.
Burning balls of gas. Billions of miles away.
Nah. Nobody knows. Well, I'm sure some deitic power knows, but no mortal. Some say that their souls twinkle in the distance, always watching.
Oh, that's creepy.
This whole culture is about their
boy.
ancestors watching over them.
Oh, that's true.
Who knows? All right, and I think that is where we gotta wrap up tonight. Just for fun, I'll give everyone in the party inspiration. That was good fun. I feel like everyone played with that at least a little bit. So make sure you have your inspiration for next time. Thank you all for playing, and thank y'all for watching. And as always, stay classy.
Bye.
Bye.